we use social media. It's not just about the platforms themselves.
To the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and we put ourselves to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian development.
Hello and welcome to The Reporter, a news and current affairs program that goes beyond the headlines, bringing reporters from the field to give first-hand accounts and in-depth analysis of unfolding issues, correspondents' perspectives, ensuring balanced, credible, and comprehensive storytelling. Welcome once again. I am Aniti Patrick. It's good to have you join us on this edition of the program. Let's begin with the judiciary and see what the build-up is to Osun election. The Court of Appeal has set aside a judgment of the Federal High Court, recognizing expelled Shehu Gabam as chairman of the Social Democratic Party (SDP). The three-member panel court lacked jurisdiction to make orders affecting the rights and interests of persons who were not properly before it. Our correspondent Upong Usoro tells us more. So while we're getting ready for that report to come in shortly, let's also tell you all the stories with the build-up to the Osun governorship election, and that's talking about the security perspective of it. The Nigerian Police Force says it is intensifying preparations for the 2027 general elections, with senior officers and security stakeholders set to develop a comprehensive security roadmap for the polls. The Force Public Relations Officer, CP Aniti Inido, disclosed this in Abuja while briefing journalists on the 6th Conference and Retreat for Senior Police Officers. Correspondent Kiken tells us more.
As the countdown to the 2027 general election begins, the Nigerian Police Force says it is moving to strengthen its security architecture and stay ahead of emerging threats. The Force Public Relations Officer, CSP Annie Inedu, says the 6th Conference and Retreat for Senior Police Officers, scheduled for September 21 to 23 in Owerri, Imo State, will provide a strategic platform to develop a roadmap for effective election security management. It says the 3-day conference will bring together senior police commanders, security experts, and other stakeholders to assess emerging threats and fashion operational strategies for safe, peace, and credible election. He added that deliberation will focus on intelligence-led policing, strong policing community partnership, digital technologies, and artificial intelligence to enhance police operation before, during, and after the polls.
Is particularly relevant as Nigeria prepares for the 2027 general elections. It provides an opportunity for senior police officers, managers, and relevant stakeholders to critically examine the security challenges associated with the elections and develop practical strategies for ensuring safe, peaceful, and credible electoral processes.
The FPRO says the conference is also expected to produce actionable strategies for protecting voters, electoral officials, candidates, election materials, and general public throughout the electoral process. According to him, the initiative is part of the police leadership broader drive to deepen institutional reform, professionalize personnel, and strengthen operational readiness ahead of the 2027 elections.
The conference will focus on strengthening the institutional capacity of the Nigerian Police Force for the effective election security and management. Decisions will include contemporary policing strategies, the application of digital technologies, and artificial intelligence police.
For Lenders Consult International, organizers of the conference, the initiative represents a strategic investment in strengthening policing and national security. Its managing director and chief executive officer, Shino Phillips, says the organization has remained committed to the conference since securing approval to organize the event. He described the initiative as contribution towards supporting the police in protecting lives and properties and maintaining public order. Philip also called for greater public support for the police, stressing that securing electoral process require cooperation between the force and the citizens.
The electoral process largely depends on the police as the lead agency in internal democracy. We have partnered with the Nigerian Police Force since 2019 to help drive policing visions like this.
With 2027 general election drawing closer, the Owerri retreat is expected to sharpen the police security architecture, strengthen operational preparedness, and provide a coordinated strategy for protecting the ballot and securing citizens. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global TV News.
Okay, so when we have it there with the security operates, but let's get back to our earlier reports where the judiciary had its own directives for the SDP to be added to the platform for the election. Let's see if that report is ready for us so we can quickly have that story running right now.
The Court of Appeal has nullified the Federal High Court's pronouncement in a leadership dispute within the Social Democratic Party, SDP. The three-member panel comprising Justices Fadoua Umaru, MS Hassan and L.A. Ganiyu delivered the unanimous judgment with the Justice Hassan leading the panel. The court noted that an earlier Court of Appeal decision relied upon by the Federal High Court had subsequently been set aside by the Supreme Court. Reacting to the judgment, SDP National Chairman Sadiq Abubakar welcomed the decision and thanked the court for what he described as a victory for justice.
And also I want to use this opportunity to most profoundly thank our presidential candidate that led the legal team for the wonderful job they have done to the party, for their patriotism, not just to the party.
The SDP presidential candidate, Prince Adewale Adebayo, also welcomed the judgment, describing it as an important development for the party ahead of the 2027 general elections.
The key issue is that in future, INEC should be very careful with this. Where we nominate candidates, take them. Where we make our decisions, respect them.
The judgment is the latest development in the prolonged leadership dispute within the Social Democratic Party as the party prepares for the 2027 general elections. Ubong Osoro, Global TV News.
And of course, there you have it from the judicial point of view. Let's now speak to our correspondent, Ubong Osoro, who's live here with me in the studio. Hello, Ubong. It's good to have you join me.
Thank you so much, Annie. It's always a pleasure to come on the program.
So, with just few hours to the governorship election in Osun State, and here we have court verdicts. And what does this Court of Appeal judgment mean for the legitimacy and control of the SDP? Because the crisis is long, all the way coming, all the way. We've seen this happen for a long time.
All right. So the crisis in the SDP is a leadership crisis. We are within basically two persons contesting for leadership of the party. We have Sadiq Abubakar, who has now been reaffirmed by the appeal court, and we have Shehu Gabam, who was the chairman at the time when Sadiq was the secretary. But Sadiq then noticed some, like they would say, some nefarious activities and decided that he went to do disciplinary action and expelled him. But Gabam still claims that he's the chairman. So the case went up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court gave a judgment. So relying on that judgment, Gabam now went back to the High Court to seek for an explanation of who is the chairman. And the High Court now gave a ruling that Gabam is the chairman, not Sadiq. So INEC immediately recognized Gabam again and not Sadiq. So the Sadiq faction now had to appeal that judgment, and at the appellate court now, you have His Lordships, the three justices, sat down on the matter and said, no, that Gabam could not have been the chairman. So as we have it today, Gabam is not the chairman, but Sadiq Abubakar is the chairman.
Okay.
And speaking to the Gabam faction, they've also said they will take up the matter to the Supreme Court again.
Okay, so as we're moving into the 2027 general election aside the Osun election, what should, or should we say the court setting, will the court setting now playing more role in terms of leadership disputes and all that? And let's set aside the Federal High Court judgments. What are the implications for Shehu Gabam? Because he's been there before. We've seen him, and then the faction that had relied so much on his leadership and the earlier ruling that brought him in as the chairman.
Yeah, he still has some claims, because if you look now, this is at the appeal court. He can still go to the Supreme Court again.
Okay.
Right? So I think he would want to explore that, because if you remember some months ago, 2 months ago, the Sadiq faction were chased out of the National Secretariat of the SDP, and the Gabam faction came and took control. Remember that Gabam also has national chairmen who are loyal to him across the 36 states plus the FCT. Sadiq also have national chairmen who are loyal to him. So it's two parallel factions. So they have the resources to be able to go on with this fight. And the courts have actually come to give accelerated hearing to political cases, because we want to see that all political matters are decided before election, so parties can settle. Presently now, the courts are on vacation, but they are still treating these political matters because of the accelerated hearing. They have to finish before we go into the general election that will come up by January. So it's he has options. The lawyers will tell him, since you won at the High Court, and it was only overturned at the appellate court, you can still get victory when you get to the Supreme Court. And I know as a politician, he will want to go on all the way again.
Okay, so quickly, this makes us have a better picture, because the build up to 2027 and also the election coming in Osun, that's tomorrow, Saturday 15th. We look forward to seeing how the SDP will fare and deliver on the mandates that the people are banking on.
The SDP governorship candidate for Osun, Oladele, he came on my program one of the days for a year live, and he spoke to me about he was in the APC, and was very popular and all of that. But when he saw how the process was being monetized, and he had to go to the SDP. So he said he's on ground, but he's left for the people of Osun State to decide. I agree, but there's still things that can be done. We are seeing realignment and alignment. The PDP has stepped down for the Accord Party. We've also seen APM step down for Accord Party, so we may be seeing other parties stepping down for each other. Okay,
that shows unionism in this the right phrase to use for the election and then for the people's basic concern. Thank you so much, Ubong, for always bringing us up to speed with all of these details. Thank you for your time. Well, we're still speaking about Osun election and the build-up and what it's looking like. Earlier, we brought in the police force preparations ahead of the election. Let's have Kike join us now, who's standing by to speak on developments and the issues from the police force and how ready they are to deliver on the mandates of security concerns. Hello, Kike. It's good to have you join me on the reporter at this moment.
How are you?
Okay, great, Kike. Let's talk about the build-up to the elections. As Nigeria approaches the 2027 elections, how prepared is the police force to prevent violence, vote buying, intimidation, and other emerging threats before they disrupt the electoral process?
I would say the police are showing signs of early preparation ahead of the 2027 general election. But the real test is going to be execution. The thing is, the decision to bring the senior police officers and experts together to develop a dedicated 2027 election security blueprint is very important and is a welcome idea. The police are saying they are ready, like they are trying to identify the emerging threats and looking at intelligence-led policing, which is talking about technology, AI, and strong community partnership. But election security is not something that can be solved by deploying thousands of policemen on election day. The police need to identify the flashpoints weeks and months before the voting. They need to know the political actors and areas that are vulnerable to violence, movement of criminal elements, then patterns of hate speech and disinformation, and the potential attempt to disrupt the INEC official or even the election materials. Vote buying is also requires a different approach. It's always a traditional policing there, It involves surveillance, intelligence gathering, as well as financial investigation and collaboration with agencies responsible for financial crimes and electoral offenses.
Okay, I see your perspective as well coming to play, but beyond the Owerri retreat, what concrete and measurable security strategies should Nigerians expect from the police to guarantee safe, peaceful, and credible elections in 2027?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Okay, beyond the Owerri retreat.
Talk to me about what Nigerians should expect in terms of security strategies that are concrete and measurable for Nigerians' safety and peaceful and credible elections.
Yeah, okay. I would say there should be a national electoral security threat map, that is identifying the flash points, like I said before, then assigning appropriate personnel and resources to them very well before the election day. Secondly, there should be dedicated intelligence team tracking political violence, thought groups, organized criminal networks, hate speech, disinformation, and attempts to intimidate voters. Then thirdly, the police need a clear strategy for protecting the entire electoral chain from INEC personnel and then sensitive material to polling unit, collation center, as well as result management location. Then there should be a rapid response unit capable of reaching trouble polling area quickly rather than waiting for violence to escalate.
Hold you a bit. Let's talk about the Osun election. Well, let's get back to that and I'll come back to you. Let's look at the election in Osun State. The governorship candidate of the Allied People's Movement, APM, Adebayo Adewale, has withdrawn from the Osun State governorship election and endorsed Governor Ademola Adeleke for another term. Adewale made the declaration in Osogbo, urging his supporters and APM members across the state to back the incumbent governor at the polls. Kikelomo Kiris was still there for Global TV.
With the Osun State governorship election drawing closer, the political landscape has recorded a fresh twist. The governorship candidate of the Allied People's Movement, Adebayo Simeon Adewale, has stepped down from the race and thrown his weight behind Governor Ademola Adeleke. Adewale announced the withdrawal at a press conference, directing his supporters and members of the APM across the state to vote for the incumbent governor. He says the decision followed consultation with party leaders, supporters, and stakeholders.
To withdraw from the Osun State governorship election. This decision is not born out of pressure or personal interest. Rather, it is a conscious choice to place the interests of Osun above personal ambition.
The APM candidate says his decision was driven by what he described as the need to put the interest of Osun State ahead of personal political ambition. He believes supporting Adeleke will allow governor to consolidate on the achievements of his administration and further advance development across the state. Adewale also stressed the need for politics to focus on service to the people, saying his decision was aimed at promoting peace, stability, and collective interest of Osun State.
Having carefully assessed the situation, I believe Governor Ademola deserves another term to consolidate the progress of his administration as recorded. Accordingly, I hereby declare my full support for the re-election of His Excellency Senator Ademola Jackson Nuruddin Adeleke.
With election now a day away, the withdrawal and endorsement add a new dimension to the context and could influence voters are lying across the state. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global TV News.
Well, there you have it. There you have it with Kike. Kike speaking and telling us that story. Kike, straight to the point. What impacts could Adebayo Adewale's withdrawal and endorsement of Governor Ademola Adeleke have on political calculations and voter alignment ahead of the Osun election that's coming up 15th of August?
The thing is, Adebayo Adewale's withdrawal is significant because it reduces the number of candidates competing for the same pool of voters. And more importantly, he has directed his supporters towards Governor Adeleke. So politically, this gives Adeleke an additional advantage going into election expected to be closely contested. It could potentially bring some ATM supporters, party loyalists, and undecided voters into Adeleke. And we should be careful not to assume that every APM voters will automatically vote for Adeleke. In Nigerian politics, voters often make independent decisions based on local interests, candidates, party loyalty, and personal relationships.
Kike, for your time with us on The Reporter. We look forward to seeing an amazing turnout with the Osun election. Well, let's turn our focus now away from the Osun election and also the 2027 general election. The federal government is set to strengthen collaboration between the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation as well as the security agencies with a renewed focus on tackling insecurity, misinformation, and emerging national security threats. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, made this known in Abuja when the Special Advisor to the President on Homeland Security, Adeyinka Famedewa, led a delegation to the ministry. Sadia Yakubu tells us more.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, described the engagement as significant, stressing that no single security agency or level of government can successfully tackle insecurity alone. He called for stronger coordination among the armed forces, security agencies, government institutions, and citizens, while warning that fake news, misinformation, and artificial intelligence-generated content could undermine security operations and create unnecessary fear. The minister assured that the ministry and its agencies would support the Homeland Security Office through strategic communication, public education, crisis communication, and timely information dissemination.
The security situation in this country or anywhere in the world is such that there must be collaboration between the security agencies, the armed forces, and the general public. And we, as members of the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, we provide that opportunity for you to reach so many Nigerians through our engagement with you.
Earlier, Special Advisor to the President on Homeland Security, Adeyinka Famedewa, underscored the growing importance of information management, public education, and effective communication addressing Nigerian security challenges. Famedewa said the visit was aimed at establishing a stronger and more structured working relationship between the Homeland Security Office and the Ministry of Information. He identified key priorities including the development of a unified national intelligence and surveillance system, stronger border security, improved tracking of criminal activities, and effective protocols for information sharing and emergency response. He also stressed the need to confront disinformation and AI-generated content, which he said have become emerging threats to national security.
Is to increase and establish a unified national intelligence and surveillance program. The idea is this: no space of land in Nigeria should be left unmonitored. We should be able to see what's happening, who is moving, and what they are doing.
The federal government says credible information, strategic communication, and stronger interagency collaboration remain critical to building a safer and more secure Nigeria. Sadia Yakubu, Global TV News.
Well, there you have it, the conversation around the reforms and what the Homeland Security is looking at in the aspect of the Ministry of Information and also the Homeland Security. And of course, to speak on this issue is our correspondent, Sadia Yakubu, who covered that story to bring us up to speed on what it looks like and what this collaboration can bring forth for Nigeria as a whole. Hello, Sadia. It's good to have you join me on The Reporter.
My pleasure, Anita Patrick. Good evening.
I'm good. It's good to see you. Let's get straight on this really quick and fast as much as we can. Can stronger collaboration between the Ministry of Information, which you cover, and the Homeland Security significantly improve the issue around Nigeria's fast response or improved response to insecurity?
Yes. On my own part, I think it will really improve the response on insecurity, because if you say Ministry of Information National Orientation, it has to do with in dissemination of information. All right, and so we are in the era whereby we have challenges with AI generated content. We have fake news as well. So the two ministries coming together, I think it will really help.
Thank you so much. But I'm not to take more. Yeah, just like you said, but time is not our friend. Always a pleasure to have you on the program. Well, amazing conversations we've had today on The Reporter. Like we always say, we bring you in-depth knowledge and stories around the world and to bring you informed so you know what's looking like. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. That brings us to the size of it. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, Star Times channel 276, as well as on Free TV. To stay connected, kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Anita Patrick. Thank you for watching.
Be mindful of how we use social media. It's not just about the platforms themselves. To the preservation of the national unity and democratic stability.
Water is life, water is an essential service, and then we must have to carry out the residents.
Local communities are not only vital to the growth of society, but they also form the bedrock of humanitarian